how are you doing? Ho, how are you doing? Oh. Gosh, I'm in pain, so that means I'm gonna try to make you laugh. Maybe that'll help the situation a little bit. It was Veterans Day the other day. Do you notice that? Yeah? Do you know there's a lot of Native American veterans? Surprisingly, right? Surprisingly. So very humble and gracious for a Native American to be a veteran after what America has done to them. Maybe they partly do it because they're worried they're going to lose their land again and they're protecting their land. I don't know the reasons for it, but it's very kind and very humble, and I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could be that person, that could do that after. I don't know. I don't think I could do that, After what I've seen happen to Native people, I don't know if I could be that bold of a person. It's a hard thing to swallow that America does not acknowledge the genocide of Indian lives in our country at all. Not really at all. Canada has a whole day for apologizing for Native American boarding schools. The Carlisle schools. It's one reason I can't listen to Brandy Carlisle. But America, it's like, all other countries can, do all these things about genocide. But, during World War II, we were having genocide in America with Native American children. Did anyone fly in and help us with that? No, they didn't. Actually, our Native American soldiers went and helped in World War II. Talk about angels. I can barely, you show someone rip my family apart. Someone ripped my family apart, and it's all I can barely do to keep myself composed. But can you imagine, losing your children, having your children taken from you, or losing your land, or losing everything you identify with, everything stolen from you that's special to you, and then go fight for your country. It's remarkable. I was watching Anne of Green Gables, and the new one, and they do a sequence of paralleling her with a girl in a Native American boarding school. And it was terrifying. It was really terrifying. I wonder why they did that. I guess Canada actually is maybe a little more forward thinking than we are. America is about, being transparent about what we've done wrong. I don't know if Canada's just a little bit more humble, or there's more Native people in Canada, but God, it upsets me. I'm trying to think of religion, or the Carlisle schools were terrible, a lot of terrible things, but I just want to set some things straight. Native American spiritual stories, creation stories, and faith are very different than some parts are very different than the Bible, in the sense that some tribes' creation stories and faith stories are very peaceful, and gentle, and these beautiful figurative things, and can you imagine like being in a Carlisle school, and then someone, okay, yeah, first the earth was dark, and then they took a rib from Adam, okay, what? And then right, like then what's next, right? And then okay, maybe two brothers don't get along, Cain and Abel, but there was like a serpent and an apple, and then God decided to flood the earth, and there was all this destruction. I mean, and then like sacrificing lambs, and like Moses and the Red Sea, and frogs and plagues, and the apocalypse, and Jesus getting nailed to a cross. Don't you think, like, in comparison to Native American, like, beautiful spirituality, that like their spirituality was like VeggieTales, and like our Christianity to them had to be like Saw. I mean, how terrifying would that be, Maybe for the Aztec, they'd be like, oh yeah, no, Abraham and Isaac on the altar, yeah, I get that, I mean, sacrificing a lamb, yeah, but the Bible can be really gory and very intense, way more intense than a lot of these native spiritual stories, incredibly more intense. Like, can you imagine, like, here they are, here you are, brought to this school because, you're like a savage, right? Bring me to this school because I'm, a savage. And then you tell me these terrifying stories from the Bible. Terrifying. I mean, think of Bible stories. Think of, all these people died in a flood. We had to get on a boat. They parted the Red Sea. There was a river of blood and frogs, scary stuff. Lions in a den tearing people apart, for their wickedness. Like, the Bible is freaking spooky, very spooky. And then, but we want to judge the Aztec. We want to judge the Aztec. We want to, judge all these native people, put them in schools. Gets me riled. Gets me riled up. Like, nobody's business. Nobody's business. But yeah, thank you to our veterans, especially our native veterans. I don't know how you could do it. I don't know how you could do it. I'm so bothered right now. So bothered. But thank you to our native veterans. There's many of you, actually. Many of you, and thank you to all our veterans, but especially, here's another thing that, so I don't waste food. It is the native in me. I try not to waste food, and it has given me, maybe many a time, a sour stomach. That's how important not wasting things are to me. I don't know if that was taught to me or something. It's not like a Beatle wrote a song about me having diarrhea all the time. It's not like it's a huge thing people know about, right? But that's how important not wasting things are. And here we have all these native people that had all this land. Before we said this was tribal and that was tribal, it was all their land, Think about all the rivers and streams and all the rivers that we use hydroelectric power across America. All that was native land. All of that. Do Native Americans pay electric bills? Why? Why do they pay electric bills? Look at all that. I mean, all that was theirs. Do we not have enough energy to share? And there's, reservations that don't have enough food. But we've, taken their buffalo, their elk, That should never be happening. And in the 40s, there was genocide of Native children. While we were out fighting, World War II. We were on the home front, making people whiter, telling them our scary Bible stories. Scary. They're very scary in comparison. But I do have to say, I like it when people have like a standard to things. They and most Native people, if they adhere to that, I like it when people have some rules they adhere to, or some morals or ethics. Because, what happens when people don't have morals and ethics? Anything goes, right? Woo! Out the window. Because that means there's no standards you have to, stick to, What did Adolf Hitler believe? Was he agnostic? I mean, a lot of these people that had no code. Of course, a lot of people have done some really nasty things in the name of, faith. Like the Crusades and stuff like that. But I do get a little weirded out when people are like, I'm a humanist. I don't believe in anything or that, which is fine. But I would like for someone to have some standards, because there needs to be accountability. Because when there's no accountability, things like Native children being hurt or taken from their families happen, or when there's no accountability, bad things happen. People with too much money or too much power don't share it. You know what I mean? I don't think this is being very funny. So I guess here is, I just, we all want to, judge, right? And now the harshness of, 1940s life, a lot of children were being taken. A lot of tragedies were happening on reservations. It helps me, understand my father a little bit. And I'm sure he's a little angry, because look at me, It feels like we just keep getting things stolen from us. But I have to say, I think there's enough I think there's a lot America could do to apologize. Take a whole day of apologizing to Indians, admit there was genocide, here on our land. Admit who the land belonged to first, and give back. We have all these corporations that could make solar panels and give to tribes instead of tribes having to rely on casinos, which, if they want to, that's fine. But we owe, everything to our Native people that were here first. They were here first. So, if you want like a happy way to go to bed, I would listen to some Native creation stories. They're very happy and gentle, and peaceful. And most of them are, and then there's a striking comparison, to what you may read in the Bible, which, has no tolerance for wickedness and evil. Not that the Indians did, but I guess they were whatever, right? So happy Veterans Day. Huge thanks to our veteran Native people here. I don't know how you do it. I am torn apart. I am torn apart about what's happened in our country for many reasons. My family's been torn apart. I've had people tear my family apart. So I just am so thankful for our veterans. I wish there was a day that we paid respect to our Native people here in America and thanked them. And I really think our hydropower should be shared with our tribes. All that water. Water is life. Water is life. Okay. So, water is life. Everyone could use more water.